Hello, my name is Vuk Jovanovic. I'm approaching Ambassador of the United States to Belgrade, Mr. Cale Rudolph Scott. Dobar dan ili dobro jutro, gospodine Rudolf. Meni je drago da postoje ambasadori koji govore i tako velike zemlje, koji govore tako dobro srpski kao vi, tako da ću da par reći kažem na mom jeziku, odnosno vašem jeziku, jeziku vaše žene i jeziku mojih prijatelja koji slušaju ovaj program. No, of course, now I'll speak English because it's very important. I am sending this abroad, this message, and it's very important because of the idea which I have behind my letter that I sent to you. Namely, I wrote something maybe that looks quite unusual, maybe shock to you, and I just spoke to my International Federation of Journalists that I'm a member of, to Mr. Philippe Leroux, who became president. And there was the first journalist who got from me actually this information exclusively, although the many people are already knew, like 60 Minutes, Jeff Fager, and there was a lot of senators and people that were involved, especially in this newest election in the United States. They know that I know the fair is that I'm ready now. I announced that I'm ready to testify in front of Congress and Senate in relation with the greatest espionage corruption scandal in the history of the United States, Fostergate. This affair happened in 1993, died because of various circumstances, and now this story has to be told because United States of America deserves better. United States of America has a lot of problems now with the economy, and I love America. I spend my best year in the United States. I have a lot of friends all over from all kind. I know a lot of ambassadors as well. In the letter that I sent you, Mr. Ambassador, I'm speaking because people who doesn't know about that. I mentioned that I know almost every ambassador. I know also ambassadors from other countries because I'm a communicator. So even from Malcolm Kuhn, who came for his day with your other ambassador, Bill Montgomery, who was first secretary, was a good friend, tennis player, together we played tennis together. And until Mr. Miles, I just put a whole listing of ambassadors for you, and I did a lot of I show my experiments, my software program, how to find terrorists in your embassy. There, people knows me. In America, everybody knows me because I did a lot of. I'm also a movie director. I did a lot of documentary films, some which I'm extremely proud of, especially about experiment on humans, which are conducted by CIA and NASA, so-called MK Ultra projects, were extremely important for the world because I save the life of the latest victim of government program. Her name was Kelly Cox. She was born in NASA, and her mother was also MK Ultra monarch, victim of the program. And Mark Phillips is a whistleblower or person who works in various organizations, national. Working in the CIA, who was working on this project. He was able to deprogram Kathy O'Brien, but not little Kelly. My film was had a very happy end. That gentleman who I know from other affair, and I know as a matter of fact, I said in my letter you will see the whole listing of very prominent member of American Justice Department, persons who have been doing special investigations, especially in the direction of human rights. Or in the wars, or people have been dealing with war criminals, and you have a whole listing of them, which I gave you already. Mr. Scott, my major purpose is to be able to speak before the Congress and Senate about the way how I found them, to be able to point the finger in the source, to explain everything what I know, and to save you problem because every person who have been selling documents for money, like she did in case of Fostergate, she'll be subject to espionage, to be blackmailed. I can blackmail, hypothetically speaking. I know how blackmail is looking like because I work on the Kurt Waldheim affair. I read about maybe 5,000 to 6,000 documents. There is one movie who was made with Miranda and Pollack about that, the internet. There's Miranda, Vuk Jovanovic and Miranda and Pollack. You can see that I read literally thousands of documents in German or English because I'm in command of both languages. And blackmail is also with Kurt Waldheim was blackmailed, believe it or not, by 6 different countries, mostly by Russians, Americans, English, because everybody knew that he's a war criminal. He was a controller of Hitler, together with General Galland, together with Dr. Mengele, with Bormann, whoever he was controlling Army E. He was a big, big killer, and my dear friend, I have a lot of friends who did an investigation of him. I also has a list that I will be just revealing right now, again because I'm on internet, and this is especially people that I dealt this affair, and we worked a long time to be able to bring him to the justice. And when I found at the end the dossier, the famous dossier that everybody was looking for, World Jewish Congress, Singer Israel, Ilan Steinberg, I worked with Ambassador Jovanovic. I was having a meeting where we was discussing how to realize this problem. I found at the end but I was subject to assassination by the famous Arkan team. I work also with Eli Rosenbaum. Neil Scher was the first director of special investigation. I worked with Eli Rosenbaum, also another one who also wrote the book Betrayal about Kurt Waldheim and his affair as the biggest war criminal, together with the biggest spy of the world, most incredible career, General Galland, was Illuminati, who was controlling Hitler, pushing him in Russia. He was also chief intelligence or military for Russian front. He was the one who saw that Russia is going to win this war on the Soviets, and he simply moved back to the United States. He changed his uniform, and together with Alan Dulles, who was in the same lodge, satanistic lodge, Rudolf Hess, who was in there too, he simply created OSS, and he created also CIA. And this is not the end of the story of the biggest spy of the world. He was also, when he finished this huge job with CIA, he became organizer of BND, German secret police, and he was director until 1968. Could you imagine? The worst war criminal in the world. The Kurt Waldheim was in the same group. If I knew that from the very beginning, I don't know if I will be well. This is too much, this number too much for me. My friend Vuk Jovanovic, who respectively first went to Kurt Waldheim telling him that he knew about his war criminal career. He was subject to 3 times they wanted to kill him, and he was lucky to survive. Same thing happened to me. I'm living my 4th life, and obviously God help us, we are Christians, as well as my other friend who are fighting this Satanist. What I want to say now, my whole idea is, and announced today that I'm going to send a copy of your letter to Mr. Putin, that we should create some kind of secret diplomacy to say, hey, what about if Mr. Clinton will lose the war? The whole war, Wall Street and whole Hollywood and all these big shots spend zillions of dollars in her career to make her looking good, but she is what she is. But I don't believe that you will be able to, if I will be able to give my statement in the Senate. Why not? If President Obama, who was born in Kenya illegally, who was illegal president of the United States, according to your constitution. Why not me, who spent so long time in the United States? Somehow I'm closer in Africa to America. And as I said, why not that I should be able to testify in front of Congress and Senate and to explain to the American people that they have a possible spy future president. That's the reason why I said it. The other reason is that you see now everybody's preparing for war. Mr. Obama Hussein, who was actually working on terrorist organization, Master, who is now conducting all this horrible drama with the whole world and especially America, with the Muslim terrorists who are approaching and trying to come to the country. That Mr. Obama is ready to make war. He's now working with all these friends, and all of them have this as their sign. This is a sign of a Satanist. I happen to know also one person that I'm very proud to meet when I was in the States, when I discovered the source who told me, the number one source who told me all truths about her treason. I met also a gentleman by the name of Ted Garrison. I also send you the link in a little letter. The best policeman the United States ever had. He was chief of FBI in various parts of the United States, namely California, which is the most important part most of the time. He in other four countries. And he was also chief inspector of Olympic Games in Los Angeles and 6 Pan-American Games. Namely, he is the number one policeman that America ever had. So he was my best friend, and he was telling me for 5 years I was living in the same complex in the United States. So he was showing me all the intricacy of the false flag terrorism, and also he told me about September 11 and everything else. So, but the most thing that I'm very proud of, I did a documentary film about my own film about Markale market case, about fraud that happened during the war in Bosnia, because Bosnia was experiment and so-called leading of the media war in direction of the famous film that you all know, False Bag the Dog. Remember this with Roberto De Niro and Dusty Hoffman leading this virtual war in Kosovo. And the whole war was a lie. I was amazing. I was in the United States. I was in Las Vegas. I had a car accident, and I just found the book, $5 book, Terrorism in USA. I saw the author is Joseph Bodensky, director of Task Force and Foreign Conventional War in U.S. Congress, and he wrote in the book something completely amazing, that everything that we all thought that was done by the Serbs during the war, bad Serbs, was done by the Muslims. And he said that everything was self-inflicted terrorism. After I came out from the bed, I did call him, and he wanted to have an interview. He's from Israel, my country of choice, and my wife was from Israel at the time. I went to this country many, many times. I know all people in Israel who are in this business of terrorism and counter-terrorism, from top of the list, and somebody who is even, my wife's cousin was, first cousin was chief inspector of Olympic Games in China. So that means I have some experience in that. And another, my dear friend Prince Aliato de Monterale was Italian prince who was actually, who died in 1996. He was at the time 76, and he was speaking in front of your this list of the most prominent American historian about special top secret in the world, which is pact between Hitler and English. Hitler was English spy, and in case that Soviets will lose the war, the very next day England will be one country with Germany, and all these people who, like Goering, like all of these people who were in Nuremberg protests, they'll be leader of that country. See, that's how the life is like casino. Then Illuminatis decided to bomb Germany. And actually, Germans were a patsy the Illuminati used for the purpose of overtaking Russia, like they do it now, by finding assets or you name it. But now everything is over. I prefer. I sent you one very interesting idea, Mr. Scott, and you should maybe transfer it to your country, to your people in the State Department to think about that. We can find. I know very much in all this story that I will testify against Mrs. Clinton. I feel very bad, and that point is that I know family Trump. Ever since 80, we met in 2007 that I was skiing at the time, in February mostly. I have even begged to his owner of that hotel, permit me to show my art collection. So I was able to enjoy this beautiful Semiramis, best hotel in the world, Hotel Palace, and to meet people even like Trump's and many other most prominent people in the world. And that is a bad point in so-called objectivity that I'm supposed to should be, but I will show you that I'm like I love Platonus, but truth is my best friend. That means that I will testify if I'm able to, and I will explain to American people the dangers that if she will be the president of the United States, how dangerous it is. And also my other idea is to make Miss Eric Trump has a foundation who are dealing with children with cancer. See, the area I'm now, I'm not hiding, you see, I'm open now. Everybody knows, especially you can call this, we call them traitors, or we call them biggest traitors in history of Serbia. They know where I am. They're listening to my phone 24 hours, as I told you. They're using all both companies like BIA and BND, military secret police. They're listening to my phones. They're intercepting my telephones. They're intercepting everything. I'm complaining because as we speak, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm not able to move. They're using all possibility to stop my connections, to stop connection of my friend. I wrote you down, Mr. Scott, and I ask you, please, Mr. Scott, tell Mr. Vučić to behave, because we know Mr. Vučić he did a big twist in his mind and his personality. He was the biggest war spinner of the war. He was also Minister of Information by Milosevic, and he was remembered as like Attila. He was destroying people, destroying everything. He was mostly in charge of point that Mr. Shruvia, my friend, was killed during the time because he was the one who was fighting against everybody, and now he has this twist from somebody who is the worst, also like Dacic, Milosevic's. I know that your colleague Bill Montgomery worked on him. I was just recently in the Academy for Terrorism that he was actually working on him. He became now very, so to speak, your spy. But nevertheless, these people are. Vučić started behaving very bad. He's accepted nobody cared about intellectual elite in this country. Know that he's a pathological liar. That his story about economy, about progress in the economy is just baloney. He doesn't know anything about economy. He finished University of Law, but his only discovery, so to speak, in the matter of economy was that he owed people. Well, he was a radical party. He was director of swimming pool pioneer or something like that, and he had something new. He introduced night that people was using during the night swimming pool. He put this as special in his CV. It means he discovered phenomenal idea that people could also swim not during the day but also during the night. That's the only thing that he knows about the economy. He's a completely bullshit meister. We know that all these people that he's speaking is not truth. Everything I know that we all know that he was the person who discovered him, so to speak, in America was Mr. Norton Abramovich, and all of a sudden he had this twist. But this is that's the point. You should really warn him, because he already is on a margin that he will be no longer in position to be what he is. Especially with Hillary Clinton's, he went to Hillary Clinton's foundation. He speaks with the man who bombarded my country. Apropos this topic, you see, I'm now, as I said, in Fruška Gora, beautiful place. I would like to invite you, as I did in a letter, we can drink wine in Fruška Gora. I also toast to Mr. Putin. I have in the film that I'm going to send you. We would like to make some summit, and especially something symbolic, because you see, here is a place where that was before about 36 nations. There was a big mine, and even one American Indian was working here. That's in the book. And mine was actually destroyed by water, and then became fantastic. Now the new bath. But there was a lot of military compounds here, and that's why Mr. Clinton bombarded us during 1999 without any decision of any institution in the world. That means also illegally. He bombarded my country with uranium, U-235, and many children, not only Serbian children, but children from 25 different nations, even Croats, Rusine, and you name it, 25 different nations living here. So symbolically, we'll open something like Yad Vashem here, that people remember what Mr. Clinton did here and America did at this time, this illegal war, when they are so superior. That Susan Rumsfeld said we can conduct the next 10 years when he was explaining Arab Spring. Nobody is even close to us from military point of view, so we can destroy anything with the power. We have the strongest army. See, it's not any longer the case. China and America is now Russia is very close to it. But I told you, I put in the letter, Mr. Scott, that I put CC to Mr. Putin, because I want him also to have follow-up. And I believe that we should make some so-called, say, secret diplomacy, although it's not a secret anymore. I'm on internet, so everybody knows that. But just to give us alternative to the people, that we can make a Verdnica place that foundation will also be a little part of this foundation, but mainly foundation for helping children from that horror. Will be New York with Eric Trump, and Russia, Moscow with Mr. Putin. So we'll be able to help these people, because every second day I'm here. Since I came back to here, to my country house, I'm hearing the special music and people going to the graveyard, and all from all nations. You see. They're living in a perfect harmony, and they're not, Croats was very much suffer from plutonium, Albanians, Gypsies, and all people from all 25 nations. So that's why I hope that it will be some kind of a peaceful treaty, because we all know that Mr. Trump and Mr. Putin are for peace, and that Mr. Trump, who I really admire very much and who I like very much from the beginning, I know when he was speaking the same way as he spoke 30 years ago, especially about corporation and other problem with immigration and everything that he speaks now, this continuation of his thoughts. So I would like to have some people in Justice Department or in the State Department who will think this way, that we should also have alternative, not only war, but to have a peace as a possibility, not to have because war after war, because we have to find some solution for the United States. Mr. Trump came out with this fantastic idea to America to be rich again, and he has phenomenal thoughts. And that's why even when something happened, was about to happen something, even I approached Mr. Brennan by saying, Mr. Brennan, Ms. Clinton was a spy. You know that he's a spy ever since 1993, because they all know about that. And this organization, NSA and CIA, who did a tremendous job, I give a lot of compliments, and still did compliments to Mr. Brennan, that the only problem is that she stayed alive, and that CIA and NSA will be very much in the front of fire by Mr. Trump when we came out, or I came out, or will be proven what I said, that she is a spy. Why she was not arrested? My best source, I'm repeating myself, last time, my best source before if I come to the Congress or Senate, that she was, NSA and CIA knew about it, And that's why I put in this little part of film that I approach Mr. Brennan. I explain, I put a lot of information, but not all. I kept the latest one for the maybe Jeff Fager, who owned me, because when I was doing my film about Macaulay Marketplace, which is my best film, he was his former boss and my idol, and probably the idol of many people. Don Hewitt was watching my film. He's now late, unfortunately. They loved my film because there was such a horrible lie, horrible stuff in guitars that they put frozen body. You could imagine with that stiffiness. They brought it to the market and they make boom, big effects like doing Hollywood and really Asis, for example, the same group. And it's very hard, easy to know, and especially when my source in my film about Macaulay Market case, you can see when you go to internet, Vuk Jovanovic and Macaulay, that this film was showing everything, and so to speak. And now, after that, using this opportunity, Clinton bombarded and 3,000 people died because of that. What will happen? And you see, just to excuse me, I was a little bit confused, but I'll repeat myself. When Jeff Fager was watching together with Mr. Hewitt, I spoke many times, I wrote many years. He said, absolutely, I'm sure that it was done by the Muslim because everything looks so logical. And then he asked me, Mr. Jovanovic, give me 20 minutes. I will go to my office to verify that by my source from CIA. He came back and said, Mr. Jovanovic, you're right. CIA told me that Mr. Jovanovic is right. That was done by the Muslim. In this special room in CBS was, except Jeff Fager, who was about to do this segment with me, there was another 7 or 8 producers. So I believe that Mr. Jeffrey will come out and tell what's happened that day, and I will insist on that. I sent him also letters. He'll get also this letter as well, and I will start with him first because now I definitely start that it has to be done. Now I also approach just to let you know, Mr. I also approached my association of journalists to warn him about situation with journalists who were being killed by all dictators. And yes, Vucic became dictator. He became old Vucic. We don't trust him. He's just Osta Berner of Serbia, and person who speaks these fish stories that nobody believes. But there is some people that using him. He is a typical economic hitman, like John Perkins. But beside the point, we should have war. We should have peace, not war, because it's very simple. What is war for? Also, while I was with the American Patriots, I also put in some of my films, I learned from best CIA source in microbiologist. His name is Larry Harris. I had a lunch dinner with him, and he was arrested the next day when he went to Loretta. Loretta was the man who brought me to this source. Larry Harris said that for $10,000, hardware, place like Washington D.C. could be $10,000 hardware. You could imagine. It's a very well-known fact. It's very simplest method how to destroy cities. That for 2 to 3 million years we never build it because of usage of poison gas and poison thing. And I know for a fact that Muslim terrorists have access to that. The simplest thing in the world. You cannot control. And I won't talk about that because I'll also irritate or maybe give idea to some terrorists. But the fact is that war is absurd. It's very simple to destroy the United States from inside if you want to, because I'm afraid this war will never end. And that's why we should have peace, by no means. And maybe this my suggestion that Vernick will be some kind of place for people to find each other, to meet each other, like Trump and Putin's, will be for the first time phenomenal thing for the future of the United States. I'm sure that people in the United States appreciate this idea, and I'm sure that he will accuse, if we prove it, and I believe, I have no doubt that it will be proven, that they will vote for right president in the United States, which is by no means Donald Trump. Mr. Scott, you're very welcome to come and call me on my number, and I'll call you. But I have a problem because this Vucic's secret police, it's impossible. See, a friend of mine called me, they got his number, they got him internet, everybody who is surrounding me are completely, and I'm not able to get my information back from the United States. That's what they do. So you should warn him, Mr. Alexander Vucic, we call him Fazliu. He cannot even prove that he is Serbs. He believes we all know the intelligence services wrote two big scientific articles that he's not a Serb. His biological father is Albanian, so that's why people believe that's why he likes very much Albanians, because his blood is no joke. Anyhow, Mr. Scott, was again a pleasure even talking to you over camera, but as we speak, let's do something for the peace. I wish you a good day, Mr. Scott, and we talk to each other in the near future.